Hi, this is Tashina.
And this is Jonathan.
And this is Abandoned Ship, a podcast where you are with us on a journey through Deep Space Nine.
And today we are here to tell you a story about the Storyteller.
Yep, Season 1, Episode 14.
Where do you want to start with this one?
So I think we should attack this episode differently than we usually do. Because usually we just go throughout the episode linearly. Not literally,
Linearly?
That's what I'm trying to say, yes.
You are a prophet. You do not understand linear time.
It's why it's foreign to me, the word. Both systems.
Imagine if that on the pilot were linear beings. What is this linear?
It is a difficult word.
Cisco just loses all respect to them. Linear. Oh no, we're dealing with stupid aliens.
No.
Never mind. Send me back.
If you're quite done making
Yes.
fun of me. So we have two stories. They're given pretty much equal time, and they don't intersect.
Right.
Other than like a hot second in the beginning, and really not even at the end. It's in the same space. That's about it. So I think we should tackle one, then we'll go back and we'll go through the second one. I think that's just the best way instead of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
All right.
But in our cold open, we do have both set up for us. In a voiceover, as we look upon the beautiful Deep Space Nine, Cisco tells us that he has to mediate between two Bajoran fractions that are pretty much on the brink of civil war due to a land dispute.
I thought it was funny that in the previous episode, we're like, oh no, it's the two sides that can't get along, so cliched. And then the very next episode does the exact same thing, but somehow even more cliched.
Yeah, the very first line of this episode.
Without the interesting moral lesson.
Nah, it's pretty
just
basic.
It's so basic.
Pretty basic.
I think I just hate two sides can't get along episodes. In almost any show, they're always the worst episodes. Just because the solutions to them are always really like what's the word?
Simplistic?
They're simplistic. Everyone's like a straw man of.
Yes.
They're really they're like caricatures.
Because you're doing more of like a whole town or a whole people. I feel like that's when you get everybody's kind of the same level or the same type of person.
It's all, but that's the thing is it's not like the same type of person. It's everyone's always a clownish look at two peoples who are different.
Yes.
Like everything about them always has to be completely opposite. And how will they ever get along? And the solutions to them are always way too easy.
Yes. Especially if they've been like warring for decades or even centuries. Like, how is this little team of people going to heal all of these wounds in a 30-minute episode?
It's like Falcon telling the senator, do better, and walks away. Like, it's never that easy.
Exactly.
I think those combination of things just always lead to poor performance.
Yeah, just not something you can tackle in a quick episode. But that's our story for this episode for Cisco. He's going to do his darndest to try to bring these two groups together. Before he goes to meet one of the leaders that has come to the station, Miles comes bursting in, trying to get out of going on a away mission with Bashir.
Yes.
Because it is just Bashir and Miles. And it's interesting that Miles is like, this dude over here can take my spot easily.
Ensign Boimler can do this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's Ensign Boyer, but it sounded like Boimler.
It should be, yeah.
Proto Boimler.
And Cisco's like, are you busy? And Miles like, no, actually, things are running smoothly for once on the station. And then Bashir comes in with his little bag, ready to go, his little medical bag. And
I'm really looking forward to this mission.
At the moment, all we know is that the magistrate, which I guess is like the leader of a Bajoran village, has asked for medical assistance, saying the extinction of their town is at stake. Which is like, oh, this is medical emergency. Let's go.
I'm kind of surprised that, because this whole bit for this is, that they think it's this big, like more of a traditional emergency, maybe casualty,
plague.
Sickness, I'm curious that they think it's so dire and they only send one dude. I guess they don't have much to spare, but
probably not. But it is hilarious that they only send Bashir and Miles. Not even somebody from some kind of security background.
A Bajoran, maybe.
A Bajoran to help. Nope.
Nature's got people. We're like 12 people up in this station. Why don't you guys send somebody?
So they're off. Cisco says, good luck, Miles. Have fun. And him and Kira go on their elevator trip. And here we get a little back and forth. Pretty much getting the sense that these two sides, the Paku and Navat, there's tension here. And it sounds like it's been for a long time.
For a long time. And they also are like, the land and the people are one.
Yes.
The land inhabited by both sides is some of the harshest on the planet. So you're expecting, like, there's two ways this is subverted. One is intentional, and one I feel like is a very bad error. But so you're expecting tough, grizzled people who aren't going to want to talk, right? That's the setup here.
They're talking about this. They exit the elevator and meet the leader of the Paku, which is a girl.
A girl, but not like, oh, it's a woman. Like she's like 16-year-old girl. So that's the first subversion, which is intentional. Oh, the harshest on the planet. This is going to be some tough, grizzled veteran, and it's a kid. Like, oh, it's a kid? Oh. Now, which plot are we starting with first?
So I think from here, we will go with Cisco.
All right.
We will come back to Miles and Bashir's mission later. But right now we are just going to stay on the station and go with the shenanigans.
Yeah, so now we go into the meeting room.
Yes, where this is a informal meeting that Cisco set up. I think he was hoping to start off a little bit more chill.
Yeah, it's maybe like an
not start off at 10
for the actual negotiations.
Yes.
But the thing is, this is the one and only time we ever see the other faction. And it's like some portly dude stuffing his face with a pie, talking about, yes, the Cardassians, they make a fine pie. It's like,
yeah,
I thought you said
like
this was like
a lofty rich dude, not someone of the land. Yes.
This is some of the harshest on the planet. It was just it's a weird casting choice, and I mean it's not just it's in the script. Like he's just talking about this fucking pie.
Yeah.
So now it feels like they just said that line to try and set you up for the it's a kid reveal and nothing else. Which I think
kid, she doesn't really seem like of the land either. Like she says it a lot, but I don't.
She's I am the leader. Yeah, but I think it just speaks to the quality of the writing that they didn't follow even their own through lines.
Yes.
From literally one scene to the next.
Yes.
They were just setting up cheap reveals and just, And I'm going to say now, and I point this out while we're watching it, the shot making this episode is also pretty boring.
It's pretty basic.
Very flat.
Yeah, I would agree.
Long cuts, just flat, almost like a stage or a sitcom. Like a sitcom.
Yeah.
A lot of the times.
Yeah, I see that.
And it didn't fit most of the vibe. And even though the last episode wasn't perfect, I thought that still managed to do something. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's just all these things from mine is just like, this one was tough to get through. The B plot? Which one's the B plot?
I don't know, because
I think the one involving Cisco is generally the A plot because he's number one on the call sheet.
Other one is what the episode is
It's called True. So I guess this is the B plot. Well, the A plot holds together a little bit more because at least we get fun O'Brien
That's why I want us to save that for a little bit later.
Yeah, so we'll get through this quickly. So we get this meeting, and it's all, oh, these people don't get along, blah, blah, blah.
And pretty much it's a river cuts through their land.
Uh-huh.
The river was diverted during the occupation.
Yeah, by the Cardassians.
To, whatever they were doing, mine and drilling, whatever. Pretty much the Navat lost 20 kilometers of land. And the girl's like, that's Paku land now, bitch. And they're like, it was our land. It's stolen. So that's what they're arguing about is, okay, how can we work this out? Because technically, the treaty does state that the river is the line, but the treaty
didn't take into account like external interference.
The river would be pushed over.
You would think they would. You would think they would anticipate efforts by each other to move the line, but
who knows what was going on?
Not legal experts, for sure.
Yeah.
After all, they're people of the land.
Yes. Dummies.
Morons.
That's what the impression that's given.
All right.
Okay, so the tension's high. It definitely seems like the leaders are having a hard time working together, especially the young lady. Her name is Varys.
Mm-hmm.
And I got this right up front. She talks about it later, but, being a 15-year-old girl, she's scared of being, too lenient.
Right.
Especially at the beginning, I guess, of her reign. Because she got it from her father was a leader. So it sounds like it's one of those things that gets passed down like a monarchy. So I get that she doesn't want to be seen as weak. But now she's overcompensating and being too harsh and not compromising at all. So that's the main crux of this storyline. Oh, the good parts about this episode, though, are Nog and Jake. Oh, sorry.
Oh, well, first, Court comes in, serves some drinks, and gives a Trixium bubble juice. And she throws it in his face, drenching his makeup.
I'm not a girl. She storms off. Then we cut to the promenade. There's Nog and Jake hanging out, and they're like dangling off the second floor like teens do, just watching. And they're kind of bickering back and forth because they're bored. There's nothing to do on the station for them. And I guess they play a ton of baseball in the hall suite, and Nog is just
done
over it. So I said +1 for Nog for dissing baseball. He's even
Let's go play some baseball in the holodeck. Baseball's slow and boring. It's a stupid game that even humans stopped playing hundreds of years ago.
Yes. 1 point for Nog. Or a solid diss.
I think it's funny too because that they put that in there because all the baseball stuff in DS9 is because it was Michael Piller who was producer, maybe writer, someone showrunner, maybe even I forget at this point. But he's leading the show, right? And he's a big baseball fan, so that's why all the baseball references are in here.
Gotcha.
So I think it was a little tongue in cheek for the writers to put in these digs at baseball too.
Oh, we have to fit more baseball in this episode. Odo comes over and gives them a quick scolding about dangling from it. They stand up, Odo walks away, and 2 seconds later, they sit right back down. I'm like, that's a
teenage
nice
of them.
teen moment. I'm like, okay, that was nice. And they start, going back and forth again about their boredom when Nog sees a vision of beauty before him. Varys.
Dun, dun, dun.
The most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So Nog is full Twitter-pated. Next, we see them wandering the hallways trying to find Varys. I guess somehow they come upon her room and they're too chicken shit to ring the doorbell. So they're just fighting in front of her door. But she opens it and she's like, the hell is going on here?
And Nog's just like, my name's Jake.
Jake kind of takes over the talking. Seems to at least handle being around girls his own age where you could tell Nog is...
He lives in a repressed society.
And yeah, he's probably not really around teenage girls.
Yep.
They call themselves the Welcome Committee and say, hey, you want to come with us. We can show you around the station. The best view of the wormhole. We got it. She's like, sure, yeah. Because she notes Jake, when he introduces himself, says, I am Jake Sisko. And that perks up her ears. So we have this very, very quick scene of Quarks, which made me feel like the actor must have been contractually obligated, both of them, to be in this a certain amount in this episode. Because literally...
Probably for residuals.
Yeah, probably. Because Kara literally sits down at the bar, Quark asks, how the negotiations going? And she just, make it a double. So,
and then that's it.
That's it. And they cut to a scene where we hear about how bad the negotiations are going. So we didn't even need that scene.
Yep.
Though I do find it hilarious that Kira's just like getting day drunk because of these negotiations.
Yeah, I guess the Bajorans don't have rules about drinking on the job.
Like, whatever. So pretty much they had 5 hours of an unproductive meeting, which, shoot me in the head if I had to be in the room with these two for 5 hours, just going round and round. Which, what would it even be for 5 hours? I feel like we heard the extent of it.
Give us the land. No. Give it. No. Give it now.
Like, was that it for 5 hours? So
that's why Kira's been driven to drink.
So in Sisko's office, he's kind of giving Ferris a bit of a scolding for her stubborn ways. Negotiations are going nowhere.
Yeah, he's getting the sense that, that overcompensation, and he's trying to impress upon her, like, you realize that this means war, right? If you can't come to an agreement, and what that means for your people. And
are your people ready to die for this?
Yeah, she's all like, I'm ready to die, because, again, the overcompensating.
Yeah.
But are your people as willing to die for this as you are?
Yeah, I don't know if they would be so gung-ho as she is. Cut to the promenade. Nog and Jake are trying to find Varys, and they find her dangling in the same spot, looking like a sad, sad girl who just doesn't know how to lead her people. She kind of asks their advice, like, hey, there's somebody wants something real bad that I have. Should I give it to them? And actually, this is perfect for Nog. He's like, negotiations?
This I know.
Opportunity?
Because also before this, he was always getting really like tongue-tied when talking to her, like he couldn't get 2 words out. So now he's more in his element, so perks up a bit.
And he notes, hey, does this group have something you want? Which, as a leader, she didn't think about this in the 5 hours they were in that meeting of a compromise. Whatever.
I think that's her thing. She's so set on not compromising.
The easiest idea of compromising doesn't come to her.
She's too obsessed with trying not to look weak that she can't think of anything else. And then Jake says, when I have a problem I can't figure out, I ask my dad.
Oh.
She's like, it helps, doesn't it? Oh, wait, yeah. He says, when I have a problem I can't figure out, I ask my dad. And Nog goes, I ask my dad too. She goes, it helps, doesn't it? Jake goes, yeah. And Nog goes, no.
Perfect timing from this actor.
It was great.
Pitch perfect.
Great job. So I'll give the episode props. They had some great moments with Jake and Nog and O'Brien and what's his face? Bashir. So there was some nice things there.
Their plots
the
were
plot
very weak.
the filmmaking aspect of it.
These actors were working hard.
Yeah.
This episode.
Like, this interaction feels like it could easily be in a play, too. And it would probably be really good in a play. So maybe they were just thinking too much along those lines. So the couple things they have that work well in that setup, they do land like this. And they do more stuff, too. Jake, my dad's a pretty smart guy. Nog, mine, too. In his own way.
And, Jake and Varys bond a second over dead parents. And Varys says, you admire your father, don't you? And Jake goes, I trust him. Which, this moment also goes back to something we've talked about, like with the Nagus. There's a couple moments in here that I'm like, See, Cisco? You have to trust your boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he trusts you.
And then they get shooed away by Odo. The next day, Jake and Nog pop in again on Varys. I feel like pretty much this plot line is a lot of Jake and Nog just trying to find Varys to flirt with her. And she's still bummed about the whole negotiations.
This war really bums me out.
Exactly. Nog shines for a little bit talking about, Ferengi rules and opportunities. And also, he reveals them that he took his uncle's security rod. So how about they pull a little fast one on Odo? And they go into the security office and steal his bucket.
Dun, dun, dun.
Of course, Varys is like,
what do we do?
Bucket? What?
What's Odo's bucket? So yeah, Odo has to regenerate every 16 hours and sleeps in his bucket. So I guess they're going to steal the bucket. Question is, did they think that Odo was inside the bucket?
I guess.
Did Jake think that Odo was inside the bucket? They were going to go steal.
Guess not. Guess they were just going to steal the bucket so when Odo comes back, he's like, my bucket.
Oh no, they'd be stealing my bucket.
So,
well, Nog pulls a double prank.
Because Jake, you could tell he's in a hurry. He's like, I don't know. My dad's going to find out somehow. And Nog comes out with the bucket. He does a little, I tripped. And a ton of oatmeal goes flying onto Jake.
And Jake's like, oh no. He's trying to pick it up. And then Nog starts laughing because, it was double prank the pranksters.
Oh, the laughs. They just burst out in laughter. And then
the first time Varys has smiled this whole time, probably.
Probably, yeah. So yeah, Odo comes in. Nog tries to dash out. I just love his little bye, and he gets caught by Cisco. Going, where are you in a rush?
Then they hold on this shot of the five of them for about 500 seconds.
Yes,
when nothing happens.
Is their punishment death? Like, what is happening here? It was like this grave moment.
They had to hit the runtime, and this is the only scene that they had extra footage of. So they just stand around here for what feels like an eternity. Just another note in the shot making.
So, pretty much we wrap up this whole plot line with Cisco in Cisco's office. Him and Varys talk about the incident. She takes blame for the whole oatmeal debacle because they start throwing the oatmeal in the office too, so it got everywhere. Varys says that, they're both good boys. Don't be too hard on them. And she's hanging out with them not only because she usually doesn't hang out with kids her age, but she wanted to learn more about Cisco. And Cisco's like, what did you learn about me? That you're a good dude. And I think it also, Jake talking about Cisco reminded her of how she admired her dad and his leadership. And, just that she really feared that she would lose the respect of the Navat if she bowed down too easily. But she has an idea for a compromise. We cut to a scene where I guess they're walking from this meeting and they tell us in the walkway in the hall that the compromise is that she will give back the land, but they have trade
access, because I guess this is a bartering society.
Whatever.
They don't have interplanetary.
Doesn't matter because we don't see any of the negotiations. We just know she's finally going to compromise. Before she goes in, again, Jake and Nog pop up. They wish her luck, and then she gets a little smoochy on the Nog's cheek. And he is, again, Twitter-pated, but not for too long because Odo busts in and says, time to clean up that oatmeal.
All right. That concludes that B plot.
Yes, so
I guess the lesson of that was globalization stops wars. All right. So.
Overcompensating achieves nothing?
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's good to have a little fun and pull some pranks. Throw some oatmeal around.
Oh, the laughs. All right. Now, rewind back.
Loser.
Right now, joining Miles and Bashir on the runabout, where apparently they've already been sitting in silence for a good couple of hours.
2 hours saying nothing. So yeah, we get a shot. We get like a head-on shot of O'Brien with Bashir in the background, so you get to see all of O'Brien's little annoyed reactions.
Yes. And you know what? I have to give props to Bashir. He's very honest with Miles, and he asks him, "Do I know you?" Because we haven't really said much for 2 hours, and it's interesting because when Bashir asks, "Do I know you?" Miles doesn't give a straight answer. He answers back with a question. Oh, why would you think that? He doesn't, which, if you're trying to avoid answering, usually answer a question with another question. And he said something about, I was thinking.
Thinking about what? Diagnostics.
You can also see Bashir's face, and you could tell he knows. He knows it.
Yeah, he must be, I guess, used to... It's actually kind of sad because you feel like...
Because he says, I know I get nervous and I run my mouth.
Mm-hmm. So he's aware of his tendencies.
Which is good.
Which is good. But also kind of sad then.
Yeah, it is.
You've been going through...
a little bit.
Yeah, you've been going through this season so far, going, he's just so naive and wide-eyed that the stuff people say about just sort of bounces off him because he's too, like, in his head for it to bother him. But now it feels like, it actually has been bothering him.
Yes, he's not completely cut from other people's perception of him. Of course, since Bashir is in command, Miles calls him sir.
And not only that, he is an officer and O'Brien is not.
Yes.
That's the key thing, because usually all our Star Trek main characters are always officers. Mm-hmm. Even lowly Harry Kim was an officer, just an ensign.
So
even fucking Wesley fucking Crusher was an officer in training.
But not Miles.
Nope, he's an enlisted man. He's a union man.
He's a union man, that's right.
That's why he rolls up his sleeves.
Bashir asks Miles to call him by his name. My name.
Whoa, now. Now we know what they were doing for 2 hours. No, I guess that was on the way back.
Probably on the way back. They reached the Bajoran town. They beam in and they're like, everything seems fine. What's the emergency? And the magistrate runs up and he's like, you've come. You need to come with me before it's too late. And you're like, oh, what's the emergency? He leads them to a sick old man, and Bashir, like, where are the other sick people? And the magistrate's like, what are you talking about? There is no other sick people. And Bashir's like, then why is the whole town in danger? And he said, because if this man dies, we all die. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we find out the old man, his name is Sarah.
He is the Sarah.
Sorry. We
actually don't actually get to know his name.
The Sarah.
I think.
You're right. Sorry. He's
right?
The Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't find out his name.
Sarah's like the title. Yeah. So he's the Sarah.
He wakes up and he's like, what time is it?
Medal Rock.
They say it's a couple hours till nightfall. He's like, why didn't you wake me up? And then he's like, are you the one the prophets sent me? And he grabs the Bashir hand and he goes, nope.
Not you. You talk too much.
What about that other dude behind me? And good old Miles comes up and he's like, yes, you.
You are the one the prophets chose.
I was like,
okay.
Sure. Okay. And he's like, but I don't need you right now. Go. And he pretty much dismisses them. And the look on Bashir's face, he
was all ready to show up there and do some medicine. There's not even a virus to speak of, just someone dying of old age.
And he's just like, sure, just make sure he rests, I guess. And he leaves. And they go outside. That's when the magistrate asks, like, hey, how are things going? Hopefully good news. And they're like, yeah, he's dying. Not much time to live. Organ failure. So all we could do right now is keep him comfortable. And he's like, that's terrible news.
The Dalrock will be here soon.
And we find out that this monster comes for 5 nights straight at the end of harvest. So pretty much once a year comes for 5 nights. And tonight is night number 4. And this old man is the only one that can battle this creature. And if he doesn't, we're all dead. Yikes.
All right.
So now it's nighttime, and the Syrah is heading out. He's being helped by his apprentice, who we find out later his name is like
Hovath.
Hovath?
Hovath, yes. They actually say in the beginning, but I missed it.
Yeah, I missed it too. He's being helped by him, and Bashir is behind him like, you need to go back to bed. And he's like, thank you for your concern, but be gone, doctor. I need to go fight a monster. So he gets up on like
an elevated platform.
Yeah.
A pulpit.
A pulpit. There you go. Because he does have like a preacher vibe to him. When the clouds start forming, getting a little windy, and he starts telling the story of the people. And he gets very dramatic. Seems very like 10 Commandments, like Moses.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of wind blowing. There's lightning.
And then cloud starts like forming together and coming towards them.
Some kind of entity.
And then as he's telling the story, you see a little bit of hazy thing.
The Shining.
It is The Shining coming from all of the people as they're again like, yeah. We
getting
can
hyped up.
This.
He's the ultimate hype man, basically. He's just the Dalrock's opening number.
Yes.
And O'Brien and Bashir are trying to scan it.
Yes. So while this is happening, they're trying to figure out what this cloud monster is. Which I guess after
they can't pick up anything.
I guess after this, he retired to the Lost Island. Like, it looks like the same creature.
Oh, yeah. The cloud monster.
But, so it's starting to work. But then the old man has like, I don't know if it's a heart attack, but he has like an attack. Where for a second, he goes down for the count. And then like this beam comes out and like does some damage. And so the town is starting freaking out. We're dead. Old man stands up and Miles has run up to help him. He takes Miles' hand. He's like, repeat after me. In his tentative ways, Miles repeats the story. And so everything calms down again. And the Shining happens again. And then the monster is defeated.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then, Sarah, bye-bye. Because he dies. And now Miles is the new Sarah. Woohoo! The next day, Miles and Bashir are debriefing, and Miles is not having this. He's like, no. I don't know what to do. If I get up there, these people are gonna die tonight. We need to figure out what this creature is, because that's the only thing I know what to do. He's getting real testy.
Meanwhile, Bashir is kind of egging him on like, I don't know, man. They seem pretty set. You being the Sarang. It seemed like they knew you were coming.
Also, it's 5 days out of the year? He could probably come and just take vacation from Deep Space Nine, it's a side hustle. See, when they're part of this utopian, they don't understand side hustle culture. As Miles is getting more and more testy, the village comes bearing gifts. And Miles is like, no, take them out. But Bashir's like, no, put them anywhere. And again, I had to give a point to Bashir because town didn't do anything wrong. Like, this is how they're trying to show their appreciation. And it would be bad manners for Miles to be like, be gone. We do get a great moment where 3 beautiful ladies come in and the magistrate goes,
And Brian's like, how can I help you? And Bashir's like, I think that they're the ones offering services. Which begs the question, what was that old man up to? Maybe it's only something they offer the first Sarang when he's first starting out, not something they continue offering.
For those ladies, I hope so.
Maybe he had a heart attack.
That's why.
Now you know why Hovath was so mad he wasn't picked.
I know. He was staring daggers. He was staring daggers at Miles. Hovath is in the background of all this.
Yes.
He's seeing all this go down. And of course, Miles is tongue-tied. It goes, I have a wife and child. And then the magistrate's like,
Oh, yes, of course.
Shoo away, ladies. Bye-bye.
Well, now you'll have to send for them so you can come and live here.
Miles
Again,
like,
this is where it's like, I think you could just come back next year at harvest time for 5 days and have a little vacation.
Exactly. But
I don't think you have to live here.
Miles is losing his shit. He's like, I need to figure out what this monster is. It's the only way we're going to get through this. I can defeat it, so then I can go home and never come back. Miles and Bashir are gathering information. A lady comes up with her baby, putting the baby in front of Miles, and Miles like,
bless my child.
What do you want to do? And Bashir's like, I think she wants you to bless her child.
I'm sure she'll make you very proud.
And she's like, I'm so happy. And of course, if she gets a blessing, now all the other people are like, blessings. they come after Miles, and Bashir holds him off while Miles goes back to the house. He's like, I'm going to see if I can find out some more evidence. Bye. As he's in the house, Hobart? Sure. Comes in and straight up tries to murder Miles.
With a fucking knife. And they forgive this very
easily. Also, it makes no sense because before this, Miles is complaining. He's like, I need to figure out how to either defeat this monster or how to get out of this. I don't want to be the Surah. The apprentice knows this guy doesn't want it.
This is why he wasn't chosen, because he's kind of dumb.
Yeah. At first, I'm like, oh, did he think? Because I could see from his perspective, hey, this is a good gig. You work 5 days, you get gifts and ladies. Anybody would want this. I would see that perspective if he thought like, oh, Miles wants this, I have to take it from him. But he clearly sees Miles doesn't want this. So why isn't your first step talking to Miles and trying to help out?
Gotta stab him in the face.
And again, you're right. They forgive this very quickly, and it is forgotten.
Would they really have let you be the Surah if you had just murdered who they thought was the Surah?
That wouldn't have worked out either. So I just...
Also, he says, surely the Surah must have taught you all you need to know. It's like, bitch, you were there. You were with him the whole day. We weren't.
The whole time. Everybody treats him like he should know what to do. And Miles is like, you saw all my interactions with this man. I was taught nothing. Oh, Bashir had come in and helped Miles not get stabbed. We get from the apprentice a little bit of how this works. I guess there's like a bracelet that has a fragment of one of those orbs, those time orbs. And I guess that is what helps centers everybody's psychic powers together to defeat the Dal'Rok.
Yeah, because the village used to be at each other's throats, and it was two people who couldn't get along. So they created this thing to like unite them against a common enemy, teach them to work together.
We're getting a lot of this in the last couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Two sides, and you're right. No good.
Nope.
He explains this to them, and then he tries to tell Miles, like, I want to be the Surah. I studied 9 years for this. And Miles like, well, I got great news for you. Be the Surah. And he tries to put the little shawl on him, and the magistrate comes in, and he goes, no. Because on, I think, the second or third night, one of the nights, he took over for the Surah, and he got so scared, he messed up. And the Surah had to come in and save the day. And so now the village also doesn't trust him. So it's not just that the old man lost faith in him. It's the whole village. That's what you need to be the storyteller. You need the people to believe in you. It's like the key.
Yep.
So.
And you must believe in yourself.
Yeah, whatever.
Which is also what little lady had to do. She had to believe in herself.
Same, sure. Night 5 comes, and Miles comes out ready for battle with this little shawl. He goes up to the rock. Everything starts going on as before, and Miles starts
doing his best,
doing the story.
Once upon a time, there was a Dal'Rok.
Not not the same vibe as the old man was giving us. It's not going well. And the apprentice is like, something's off. It's not going well. And Bashir is like, yeah, you go. You should go up there. And he's like, no. And then Bashir pretty much explains the whole plot line to us that, oh, but what if the old man picked Miles so he would fail and then you would go up there and save it? I'm like, we're literally about to see this in 1 second. Why are you telling us? Like, it was so weird that he explained it to us and then when we saw it, no, stop that script.
This whole turd doesn't make sense, like, narratively. It's just all over the place because right now it seems to be, trying to motivate this guy who doesn't believe in himself.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're telling you, like it's a reveal. Yeah. You are the Syrah. You're supposed to be the Syrah, not O'Brien. And he's all confused. Why isn't it working, huh? But in the previous scene, he was so mad about not being chosen that he tried to kill him. And he said, you're not the Syrah. You don't know what you're talking about. But here's like, why isn't it working? Because he doesn't know what he's talking about, which is what you just said just a second ago. So like he does this weird, if you wanted to make it this story of like, oh, this guy doesn't believe in himself, I think you should have started interacting with him earlier. That would have also allowed us to like attach to characters.
Yeah, because he's just like
he just shows up, tries to kill him, and then does this whole thing. Really established like his struggles, not believing in himself, not just this sudden thing at the end where he goes from murdering someone because he took his job to, no, he really deserves it, actually. It's like, no. Why is this a reveal? You telling him he's supposed to be Syrah? Of course he is. So I tried to stab him.
Yeah, his characterization is really bad.
I mean, keep in mind, his characterization happens over exactly like, 2 scenes.
Yeah, 2 scenes. But in those 2 scenes, it's wildly different.
He goes on quite the roller coaster.
It felt like the whole stabby thing was just some producer going like, this episode's a little boring.
Yep,
we need a
little
excitement, have him try to murder Miles. And I bet a writer was like, wait, what? Like, how do I add that? That makes, I don't care. Just have it. Do it.
Yep.
That's what it felt like.
But yeah, so O'Brien's failing.
Trying his best,
Let's really
not
focus and send this one out, okay?
But so the Dull Rock does its little
blowing shit up
thing, and it comes close to Miles, and Miles falls, and that's when the apprentice comes up, grabs the bracelet thingy, and starts telling the story, and the people start believing him and believing in themselves, and the Shining comes out, and they defeat the Dull Rock.
Fun fact, this is also how the Emperor in Warhammer 40k works. The more faith you have in the Emperor, the better you do in battle.
What the fuck are you talking about?
It just reminded me of it. All right.
So, job well done. Miles is like, Bashir, we need to get out of here before they change their minds and they try to keep me here. So, literally as they're celebrating, I just imagine Bashir and Miles like sneaking out. They are our end scene where we see them arriving back at the station, and Miles has had enough of stories because Bashir's like, oh, what if I tell people what happened? Miles like, well, I won't. I've had enough stories. Tar. I don't know. It's weird. I guess Julian has heard his name enough in this episode.
Yeah,
and he's just like,
in the beginning, he's like, oh, you can call me Julian. It's like, you don't really have to call me. Yeah, it was a weird way to end it. It makes me think, because I do know that this was like the proto Bashir-Julian relationship story, right? But Bashir, fuck, that was the same person. Bashir O'Brien relationship story.
Whoa.
We already know he has a relationship with himself. But this is the first time, we get an episode with them two, but it was not planned yet for them to be like have a friendship.
Yes.
And so this feels like their way of giving themselves an out in case it didn't work.
Oh, in case we didn't really get...
Yeah, like
if people weren't begging for more Miles, and Bashir
they just sort of... It's a weird reset, which seems unbecoming of DS9, which is another reason why this is poorly written. But...
It's just also weird note to end on.
Yeah.
It was just odd.
Yeah, that feels like a note. Maybe put that in there so in case this doesn't play with focus groups, we can write other stuff. But
yeah, I definitely feel
ended
like
up
a
liking
producer
what they were saying,
came in and was like giving notes.
Later. Yeah.
It definitely feels like a notes episode. Oh, I didn't like that. Yeah, I cut that out.
More stabby.
Oh, crap. We need a scene with Quark and Kira because those actors need some more time. We need to pay them for. And yeah, it's just like...
Apparently, Deep Space Nine was really good at sneaking in all the regulars whenever they could so they could all get residuals off the episode. There's a particular example later.
Well, it's just weird because they were both in the episode.
True, they were all in it already, so I guess they
and
already
I even
had
wrote,
the residual
Quark has a cameo, and then he comes back for like a hot second for no reason. That was weird. It's like if they were not in the episode at all and they had that like quick little scene, I'm like, oh, they're trying to give him a little money.
Yeah, the second one probably could have cut out then, yeah.
But yeah, they completely cut that scene out.
Also, in the first scene, Sisko's like, well, at least you'll be here to help me, and then she's not there to help him. Well, I guess she is off screen, but never on screen.
That's the thing. She is there. We don't see the negotiations.
Right, yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, it looks like Kira, she got day drunk and just never went back to work.
Kira's still passed out in her quarters.
She goes, this is hopeless. I got better things to do with my time. All right. Well, sounds like we were not big fans of this episode. It was a sharpy mess.
Yeah. Talking about again, it has some nice moments. Some nice, especially
from the actors.
Yes. Especially Jake and Nog.
Yes.
They did a great job. There's some great stuff for them. But also, yeah, they're the only ones holding it together.
The actor's timing. I feel like the actor that plays Nog has really great comedic timing.
Yeah.
And this really showed in this episode. And I think they use it to their advantage later on as well. I'm wondering here, like, oh, these two really do have good moments.
It's an interesting pairing because they're both playing kids. Only one of them is a kid. So you've basically snuck in a veteran actor in with a child actor to help like ground him and help him out in areas he might be weak, right? Because if you have two child actors, I mean, what happens if they're both bad? You know what I mean?
That could have been rough. Like,
you basically have him there as like a guide.
We see. I don't know how old the girl was who played Varys in the episode. She seems like she is a teenager.
Yeah.
You know,
little rough
on the acting. So yeah, I thought it is probably a good idea that they have one child actor and one at least veteran actor, even if they are younger. They've been in the biz to balance each other out because I do think it helps with the dynamic.
I think it also goes to show that Sirach is actually a pretty good actor because you can see next to the other child actor, very stiff, you know.
Yes.
He's pretty natural he comes across very genuine. Like you believe.
And I feel as the season has progressed, I feel like he's gotten better too. Like he knows Jake and his vibes and how to play him. So yeah, great duo. Always fun to see Bashir and Miles. But really it was like, yeah, the actors gave us some moments. Other than that, this is kind of a meshy mess.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well.
All right. Well, next week we have
what's
Progress. The title I didn't recognize, but it's the one with the guy holed up on the moon. That Kira has to get out of there.
On the moon?
Yeah, the grumpy old man on the moon. Grumpy farmer on the moon.
Oh, I remember the grumpy farmer.
Yes. I think I remember this one being decent.
I vaguely remember this one. We're slowly trudging our way through these episodes.
Yeah.
Chugga.
All right. Well, join us next week for Progress.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.